this topic of change, one of the key things that we need to look at if you want to apply this change, the model that I've worked with, and I have made sure it is consistent with most of the practices that we have, we can utilize the 4-step change model in every sector of our life. Okay, it's been proven, but it needs 2 elements out of each of us for that to happen. 2 elements. Element number 1, you need to be disciplined. You cannot wishy-washy try it. So, the 4 steps that we talk about needs to start off with discipline. The second thing that it needs to have is the approach that you want to make it happen, which means the commitment to want to change. It is not saying, I want to change and I follow these 4 steps in a routine manner. It does not work. Okay? It does not work. So this part of the program I'm going to take you through is for you to understand and implement the structure of it. But more importantly, I'll deep dive into certain segments of it. First and foremost, what do you think is the first step to having a change model? What is the first thing you would need to look at if you want to change something? Very quickly, because we've got short time.
To know yourself.
To know yourself. More than that?
What you need to change.
What you need to change?
Your current situation and the need for change.
Say that again, please, Mariam. Please repeat that, Mariam. Can you hear me or she's frozen? Could you repeat what you just said, Mariam?
Is it just me or I can't hear David?
No, we can hear both of you. David, she says she can't hear you.
Oh, okay. Can you hear me now? Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3.
Yep.
Who can't hear me? Hands up. Who can't hear me?
Okay.
You can,
No,
Mary?
we can all hear you.
Okay. All right. So what do you think is the first step? What do you think would be the first step? Yeah.
You start with where you are at.
Know your current position.
Session.
You're leaving your home. You want to go out somewhere. You need to know your current position. So, to know your current position, I'm going to deep dive in the following areas. Number 1, what do you think should be done? Like Akansha said, your self-assessment. So you need to have a list of your current strengths, weaknesses. Do a SWOT analysis, threats and opportunities. So step 1, and please don't say, oh, I've done it. It doesn't work. You need to do it afresh, primarily because what's happened a week ago is shifted now. So do a SWOT analysis, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Now, when you do that, what would you do that on? You won't do it on any other area except your 4 quadrants. Okay? I will tell you what the 4 quadrants are now, but Pragya will deep dive into it later. First part of your 4 quadrants is the inflow of money, career or business. Career or business. Second part of that is your family. Third part of it is your recreation and social. The 4th part is your spiritual. So you've got a circle and there's 4 parts to it. And the center of it is you. So unless you are right, the rest of it doesn't work. Get the message now. The nucleus of that circle is you. So therefore, you need to do your SWOT analysis. You need to have a listing of all your strengths and weaknesses. You need to have your listing of all your limiting beliefs. You need to have a listing of all the negative thoughts that are coming into your head and all the positive thoughts that are coming into your head. Frequency of it. My point to you is very simple. For 7 days, like what you do on the time log, for 7 days, carry a notepad with you and write these down on the run. Got the message? 7 days. Write it down. Day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4. Now, when that happens, you will then understand the power of what we are talking about, because this thing is going to be fluid. Once you have done that, you now know your current position. Okay? Now, at the end of these 7 days, I'm going to not throw a challenge at you. I would like each of you, Anda, could you take note of all the members on this particular platform that have got images, pictures there? And what we're going to do is each of you submit to me on a DM an assignment, just a one-page assignment, an assignment that summarizes your current position. I don't want to have the listing of all your weaknesses and strengths. No, I ain't got time to read it. I just want you to summarize that. So now I'm not going to structure it for you. You do it in your free form. Let me have that one-page summary of the whole thing I just covered. The 3 elements, which is strengths, weakness, opportunities, threats, and your recent achievements, your challenges, and the list of your empowering thoughts and disempowering thoughts. Got it? So that will then give you your current position of where you are. Think of the step approach. That's your baseline. I need to raise my standard is a second step. I would ask you the question, but I'm covering it up because of time factor. The second step, where you are, obviously is not the right place to be. So we're going to raise the standard one step up. To raise the standard, we now got to think differently. You go back to each of those areas and areas of your life again, the 4 quadrants, and then come back and say, in that particular quadrant of money, what do I need to raise my standard up to? In this quadrant of family, what do I need to raise my standard up to? So you determine the standard you have to raise. So which means I have now climbed up one step and I'm raising my standard up to that step for each of the quadrants. And also the heartbeat, the core of it, you raise the standard on where and what you have in relation to limiting beliefs, in relation to your strengths, because your strengths are not necessarily just your strengths. You can scale it up by 1%. And I'm a very, very simple guy. I like to only scale up everything by 1%, because to me, marginal increases, small shifts generate big gains. So when you work on that principle, look at it marginally, 1%, 1%, 1%. You put a timeline on it, whether it's a week, whether it's a month, whatever. Get it on increments of 1%, and you see what happens to you. So when you scale this up in each of the 4 quadrants, you then get into a position of saying, my standards are raised. After 12 months, you reflect back and you see, you'll be surprised what it is going to be. Humongous shift. And there is no shortcut, and there is no quick answer to all of this. You need to do the marathon race in this. Now, once you have defined and raised your standards in all the quadrants, including you, on those areas, you got the baseline I've spoken about, right? You then turn around and say, I'm going to assess my 4 quadrants. As you do this exercise, I'm going to now stop here for a moment. Miriam, can I get you, Anda, can I get you to open up that, we'll do this in deep dive, the PowerPoint, you know, that 4 quadrants, the red chart. And Miriam, I'll let you do, if you can walk through that very quickly, please. No more than 5, maximum 2 minutes, 3 minutes, the 4 quadrants. I'll do it, but I'd like you to do it, so there'll be a different voice coming in.
The assessment, sorry.
Yeah, the assessment.
Are you talking about the assessment? Okay.
Yeah. So for everyone now, you look at what we're talking about here pictorially. Fatima, coming in late, you've missed out a lot. It's a starter is the most important thing. I'm sorry. I don't apologize anymore. I'm going to spotlight everybody that does this.
Sorry, and are you putting up the...
Yeah.
All right, so you're all familiar
Yes, I am.
with...
Just give me a moment.
Yeah, I might as well just talk through because everybody's familiar. You're all familiar with the activity of assessing your level of satisfaction in the 4 areas of our lives. Okay, so you draw your circle and you take that circle and divide it into 4 quadrants with a cross. And in each quadrant to list one of the areas. So it's generally accepted that there are 4 areas in our lives that need to be satisfied in order for us to be successful and live fulfilling and meaningful lives. So the first one, as David mentioned, is your career or business. So you've got your circle, your 4 quadrants. First one is career, business. The second one is your family. The third quadrant is your social and recreational life. And the fourth quadrant is your spirituality. So on a scale of 0 to 10, put a 0 at the center of the circle, a 10 above each quadrant or at the end of each arm of the cross, as under shows. Yeah, you can move further down under. There we go, the top one. 0 at the center, 10, and now you're going to score yourself on a scale of 0 to 10, where 0 is your level of satisfaction is 0, and 10 is you are extremely satisfied in that particular area of your life. Mark it off with a cross or a dot for each of those areas, and then you will join the dots, and you clearly will come up with some form of shape. Now, the idea is not to have a perfect circle. We don't have perfect satisfaction in all areas of our lives all the time, but you're looking at something close to the shape of an oval. And you need to consider this, as I always described, as a wheel, the shape of a wheel that's attached to a vehicle that is transporting you on your journey through life. What would that journey feel like? What would the ride feel like with a wheel that looks like this, for example? Shaky, bumpy, uneven, maybe even extremely painful or excruciatingly painful. You also want to consider how long will it take before these wheels come off that vehicle? In other words, before your life falls apart if you continue as is with those scores. And of course, right at the center of that circle is the word me, you, as David mentioned. You are the most important person of the life. You're the dominant force, the driving force. If you don't take care of you, then clearly you cannot change the shape of that wheel. That's it.
Very good. Thank you. Thank you so much. So now you see that is the area that we're talking about for you to make sure you can make it into an oval exercise. Okay. What I would recommend is you do that assessment every week when you're doing this change on your 4 quadrants. Are you following me? So every week you go back and reassess that. What gets measured gets done. That's the philosophy in which I work. What gets measured gets done. So therefore, measure it every week. Now, there's an assignment in this part too. So each sector, I'm going to give you an assignment. I don't need the assignment sent to me this week or next week or the week after. I need the assignment sent to me on the 1st of July, the 1st of August, I beg your pardon, which is 3 weeks from now, 3 Thursdays from now. You have to create a vision board. It gives you enough time now for those that have not done their vision board to at least get their vision board by the middle of the year. Create a vision board with a detailed plan of each of the quadrants, what you're going to do, where you're going to do, where you're going to go for in life. Because by that time, the newcomers will also go through the purpose drive, will be halfway through that. Then you can synchronize that when we talk about the end part of that. Okay? So the second assignment is a vision board. Can somebody just make note of all of these assignments as I talk to you? Now, the third step. Thank you. The third step, you have your current position, you have stepped up. Okay? You have your current position, you have stepped up. Number 3, you need to now stand at the top of the pinnacle and don't think you're Maharaja, you fixed everything. You need to now remove all the things that was in your head, whether it's good or bad, and then refill it with new stuff, which means unlearn and relearn. Step 3 is to unlearn everything and relearn. Be humble to learn from everybody. Be humble to learn things that you already seem to know. Refresh it. And when you do that, your perspective of it changes. How many have seen this happen to them? When you read the book the first time, Eureka moment happened. But then when you read it the second time, a greater eureka moment happened. When you read it the 10th time, something magnanimous has happened. You follow this? So that's what we're trying to do here. You're unlearning and relearning things from different perspectives. So do that. And when you unlearn and relearn in this exercise, you have a lot of limiting beliefs that you want to remove as part of that exercise. As part of that, you now list down the habits, the routines, the beliefs that you had instilled in you. Those that you want to keep, please keep them. Those that you want to shun away, you now make a list of them and look at how you can shift from there. Using the same methodology. And this is applicable to any change that you want. Any change, the 4 steps. So, habits, routines are the key elements we're going to work on. Beliefs, what did you do? And through that process, you now will start relearning some of the new methodologies that got put in place. Are you getting my message? Use the platform. So now, any questions? I'm not going to stop for questions later because I just want you to address the questions as I go through. On this step also, you will have a reflective essay to put out. The process of learning and relearning. Select one element, one shift, and do that at the end of the 4th week. 3 weeks, you're doing the second assignment. At the end of the 4th week, you submit this reflective, call it a reflective essay. So when you're sending your assignments to me, don't WhatsApp. No WhatsApp. Send it on email, please. Assignment 1, I'm going to give you a subject heading for that. Assignment 1, current position analysis. The subject of that email is current position analysis. Assignment 2, vision board. Assignment 3, unlearn and relearn, reflective essay. Reflective essay on unlearn and relearn. Good. Now, what do you think is the last step? You have climbed up the ladder. You're on pinnacle. You have unlearned. You have relearned. And all you got to do now is follow Nike. Just go do it. That's your last step.
The second and fourth essay, Devin, is vision board, and the fourth one being?
Only I've given you 3 so far.
Okay.
First one is current position. Second one is vision board. Third one is reflective essays. I'm not giving you the 4th one yet. So now when you say just do it, it means you go back to all of the activities you have just analyzed. This is why you remember, what's the one word I used at the start of all this exercise? What's the one word that you have to have a huge character trait of?
Discipline.
Unless
Just
you
do
have
it.
that,
Commitment.
no, discipline. Unless you have that discipline, none of this works. So any shift you need to have discipline. And then you have to have the commitment to continue and work it through. You can't wing these things. You try to give up smoking without stop smoking, you never give it up. Same thing here. So my key point now is you take action. What do you take action on? All of the things that you've listed, what you have unlearned, and what you are relearning, that's action steps. How are you doing it? And the research information you're getting from people. You know what I did when I first started with this? I put it all on a spreadsheet because I couldn't follow it. I made columns of each of these activities I wanted. For example, my strengths, my weaknesses, my opportunities, my threats, my achievements, my challenges. I had columns for them. What gets measured gets done. So the fourth element here is just go and do each of those elements on a weekly basis. You measure it. Now, this is for you to keep this assignment. We will ask you later on sometime. Keep a monthly journal of the shifts that are happening. Now, if you had it on a spreadsheet, you'll follow it sequentially, and you can draw a line month by month. That's the power of this shift. Now, at the end of 12 months, you can then put a whole story about your shift from end of July or mid-July through to 31st of December. And you see where you're going. Does this make sense? Good. 4 steps. Any questions? Now, initially, when you start, this can be overwhelming. That's why that platform is there for you to push these messages in. And everyone, please freely answer it. Discipline, commitment, perseverance. Vital. And always remember, the journey of 1,000 miles starts with the first step. Does this help you, Pragnya? You are the one that keeps saying the change, you've not done the change, I have not done the change 1,001 times.
Thank you. Thank you, David.
Okay. Any other questions on that? Guys, you just, for starters, if you want, tonight, it's only probably 6 o'clock your time there, 6:30. Select one change that you want to do and run through this pattern, just as a tester, a litmus test, and see what happens. It'll fix any change that you need, I can assure you. It'll fix any change. Be determined to make that happen with you. Because many of us are continuously running in circles trying to get things fixed. Here is a solution. If it is to be, it's up to me, fix it. Any questions, please? Any questions? Good. No questions?
I don't know how
Thank you.
Okay, so